Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk about 6 key ways the fearful avoidant tests their partner in a relationship and what they're really testing for. And what I want to start by just sort of sharing here is when we are testing somebody in a relationship, it is a subconscious strategy to get specific needs met. Those needs are almost always for reassurance, transparency, or safety or clarity around something. And what often happens, especially for the fearful avoidant, is they don't feel comfortable or safe being vulnerable and stating a need. So they won't say, like, hey, something's not adding up for me. Can you share something with me? I need some transparency around that story you just told. Or, I'm feeling concerned about something. I have a bit of alarm bells going off. Can we talk it out for a moment? I need some reassurance, or I need some clarity. Like they won't feel safe saying that because it feels too vulnerable the vast majority of the time. And we have trauma, when we have attachment trauma, what we do to cope a lot of the time, at least the avoidant attachment styles, cope by going within and not wanting to be vulnerable and associating that vulnerability leads to negative outcomes. And so a lot of what we'll see is fearful avoidance often testing because it's a subconscious strategy to get their needs met for reassurance, for validation, for safety or transparency or clarity or these different things. And they just don't feel like they have a better way. And so things that they're often testing for in relationships are, number one, loyalty. On a side note, while loyalty can be a very important quality, loyalty in extremes can sometimes be problematic, right? Like if we are going to be loyal to somebody even when they physically harm us or hurt us or tear us to shreds verbally or things like that, like that can be loyalty to an extreme, which can actually become a form of self-betrayal. And I find there to be, this is probably its own separate video, but I find there to be like a relationship that's quite interesting between loyalty to extremes and trauma. And people really looking for loyalty to extremes when they've been through a lot of trauma and really kind of like putting that loyalty on a pedestal because it's one of the only things that makes them feel safe around people if they've had a history of betrayal or trauma in the past. And so while loyalty can be really important, knowing when loyalty has to also have a boundary around it and there has to be an account for self and one's own needs and one's loyalty to the relationship to oneself as well can be really important. But anyways, that's its own separate topic. So are you loyal? Definitely something they test for. Are you honest? And loyal can also mean faithful, by the way. Like loyal and faithful tend to be very important because a lot of FAs have this like belief that someone will cheat. Are you honest? That's really important. They tend to get really triggered by anything betrayal related, as we know, for fearful avoidance. And by the way, like if you are struggling with either of these things, a really amazing course you can check out for free. It's in my opinion, it's one of like the best courses in PDS, is Overcoming Broken Trust and Jealousy. And it's all about reprogramming your internal trust baseline. If you've got a lot of fears there, a lot of like pain points there, and you find that's something that just really makes relationships challenging, and it won't get you to a point where you're like, oh, I just trust everybody. You'll still see red flags. You'll just have healthy strategies for approaching red flags. You'll have healthy boundaries around things earlier on that are not healthy. You'll feel empowered to have healthy communication around things. So you'll be able to trust and feel safe in relationships without becoming like ignorant of things, if that makes sense, like without turning a blind eye. Like it won't just be all roses and butterflies or rainbows and butterflies or whatever the expression is. You'll have the capacity to see things, approach things, address things, leave what's not working, but feel safe and settled into relationships as well. So that's the course takes you into a deep dive for all those different things. You can check out for free for 7 days by clicking the link in the description box below. And when you get to your dashboard, you can type in trust and you'll see that course pop up. So anyways, so are you loyal, faithful? Are you honest? Are you congruent and trustworthy in general? This is just a big thing. Like, do you follow through with what you say you're going to do? Do you fulfill your promises? These sorts of things tend to be really important. And you can see just that big focus already for FAs testing around like loyalty, honesty, all these different things that could lead to betrayal if they're not there. Another big thing that they'll test for is, are you willing to put in the effort? And they'll test by deactivating. Like a lot of FAs will sort of see, like, are you going to invest in this relationship? And if I push you away, do you come back? Do you try to work things out? And this is a test that they usually start running when they feel vulnerable. They won't do it so much in the early dating stage, but later in the dating stage, if they're really developing feelings, I often see this take place subconsciously for the fearful avoidant. And they also tend to look for like, are we compatible? So they'll sort of make tests to see like what you say about their differences, how you react. And if you think that they're worthy of attention and connection by seeing if you're really willing to overcome any differences or potential incompatibilities and how you would approach them in a situation. And last but not least, they will trust to see if they are okay being vulnerable. And they'll usually, before they truly open up, sort of drop like little tests of smaller things they'll open up about to sort of gauge your reaction. And if they don't feel safe being vulnerable, and if they don't feel like they can really open up and emotionally connect, this actually may be something that causes an FA to really not want to invest their time and energy in this relationship. I see that that's such an important thing for fearful avoidance as a whole. So if you are the FA, you can work through these things and give yourself supportive resources by repairing your internal trust wound. And you can check out that course I mentioned in the description box below. And you can also remember that these are calls for things we haven't communicated about. And so if we're testing, it's your subconscious mind trying to get a need met. Because yourself, your conscious mind hasn't really given it permission to communicate in a different way. And parts of your subconscious are holding you back, probably because of fears or wounds or things like that. So just remember, like if you catch yourself wanting to test or testing, it's a great opportunity to work on communicating instead. And to know that that's part of yourself that's just in fear, right? And also has an unmet need. And if you're on the receiving end of this, you can absolutely encourage communication from your fearful avoidant partner or friend or loved one as well, if you see the testing coming about. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.